Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. I have written another story and I decided to share it because, as the Spanish say, porque no. This story is called Screwtape's Academy in the 21st Century, and I hope you like it. And this is the introduction. In his classic book, The Screwtape Letters, 1942, C.S. Lewis submits letters between Uncle Screwtape and his nephew Wormwood. They are demons in the spirit world, working behind the scenes to engineer our downfall. Demons are assigned to specific people. They conspire and plot against us. Their mission is to steal, kill, and destroy. The dark side is very well organised. It is a strict and ruthless work environment. Satan, the Dark Lord, is the CEO of this infernal bureaucracy, and he has no compassion. Contrary to the lamestream materialist consensus, demons are very real, and Jesus told us to cast them out of people. However, besides possessing people if people open spiritual doors, demons oppress humans through our thought life. That's how they largely operate. They violate our mental space and mess with our minds. It's a trip. They whisper in our lug holes all day long, inserting insidious thoughts and planting seeds of doubt and despair, hate and envy, anger and regret, and they torment us in our sleep. Increasing numbers are afflicted with intrusive thoughts and disturbed sleep. Wormwood is a tempter in training, and his uncle teaches him the tricks of the trade, the methods to promote the abandonment of God. Whilst Wormwood wants to tempt his victim or patient into extravagantly wicked and deplorable sins, Screwtape points out that the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts. The serpent, who is the ultimate dark example, is renowned for his subtlety. Wormwood pulls out all the stops to ensnare his victim, but alas, his patient died and went to heaven. His patient was killed in an air raid during World War II. Unfortunately for him, he was in a good place with the Lord when he crossed over. Respectively, we want to be in a good place with God when we cross over. Our relationship with God is the most important thing, and we must be all in. God vomits out lukewarm Christians. God is our number one, who we live for. He is the most important person in the world, in our universe, and he is the one we are clinging to when we cross over. No one else can help you, not your spouse or parents or friends or your kids or your achievements. Lewis's book highlights the cosmic chess match between God and the devil, and we are the pawns. Every person who dies either goes to heaven or hell. It's like a football game. A goal or soul is scored, and one side celebrates as the other commiserates, literally. Angels rejoice in heaven when a soul is saved. Imagine that. They're on our side and want us to make it. They're cheering us on and working for us behind the scenes. At the point of death, when God cuts the silver cord and takes his breath back, either angels or demons come to collect their prize. Those familiar with astral projection are familiar with the silver cord that attaches their spirit body to their physical body, like an umbilical cord. We are spirit and flesh beings, and our soul goes somewhere. The normies don't want to think about this, preferring to bury their heads in the sand like an ostrich. They want to believe the materialist lie. They lie to themselves in bad faith, like Sartre did. Every time someone dies, I wonder where they've gone. Like when a plane crashes and everyone dies, a bunch of spirits are instantaneously dispatched into the spirit world. Like when millions are killed in war, their spirit bodies are ejected from their physical bodies, and they're off on the great magical mystery tour. Some up, but most down. I sometimes think about the shock and terror that the newly deceased experience, having discovered they were lied to by science falsely so called. They will literally get the shock of their lives upon realising they're a spirit being. The Bible, Revelation 7:9, tells us that a great multitude that no one could count from every nation, from all tribes and people and languages, appear in heaven clothed in white robes. Vast swathes of saints, God's kids, are instantly dispatched to heaven during the Great Tribulation, which is imminent. The Great Cull is coming. It seems life is like Russian roulette. It's a numbers game. The laws of probability. People find themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, but when our time comes, when the Grim Reaper taps us on the shoulder, it's time to go. Our vocation on earth is up. Our physical time has ended. It's time to face the music. God has made a way for us to get back home to him through Jesus, and the devil wants to take our souls to hell. God made hell for the devil and his angels, and he doesn't want anyone going there. We fundamentally choose to go there. Humans are made in the image of God, and Satan wants to take as many of God's image bearers to hell as he can. Souls are trophies. There is a score, and Satan's winning. Most people go to hell, ultimately, because they didn't want to know God when they had the chance. They wanted to live for themselves, not God, and do their own thing. Satan hates us and wants to hurt God by spoiling the people he made through perversion and corruption. God designed us to be pure and holy, whereas the devil wants us debased. Satan loves watching our degeneration, our lewd and lascivious antics. He thrives on our sin, our lying, cheating, stealing, hatred, envy, murder, insobriety, gossiping. It jazzes him up. It's truly a deplorable game. And he particularly relishes in dark infernal orgies and child sacrifices, which includes abortions, with his satanic followers, those who run the world. He is sick and evil, and he wants to transform us into his diabolical image. It's a spiritual affair. Fundamentally, the existential premise is that we choose our choice and become who we are. God allows Satan to tempt us, which effectively tests our character. We relentlessly confront choices in our life, and we choose right or wrong actions. With every choice, we walk a step closer to God or the devil, or we go round in circles like a dog chasing its tail. Satan's principal tactics are deception, temptation, and accusation. With respect to the latter, how many victims spend their lives plagued by guilt and neurosis? God does not want us to carry heavy guilt-laden bricks on our backs. He wants to set us free. That's why Jesus came. We can be forgiven, we just have to ask. I was thinking about how Lewis's book translates to 2024. We are living in a different generation, one that has abandoned God. Science and philosophy and the Cultural Revolution wrote off God. Popular culture mocks Christianity. When my Christian friend began dating a man of the world, his friends asked him if she was retarded. As my brother KJ highlights, people are perfectly programmed. They have been programmed with a materialist mindset. They have been duped to believe the scientific impossibility that the universe came from nothing, and there is no spirit world or demons out to get us. Satan has achieved his aim of convincing the world he doesn't exist. Society has thus changed considerably, dramatically, since World War II, from God-fearing to self-pleasing. Most people don't believe in God. Satan has got most people in the bag. Or if they do believe in God, they prefer pantheism, like the Eastern Brahmin god, who they offer their bodies, minds, and souls to during yoga, whether they realise it or not. They are worshipping a false god. Satan is renowned as the author of confusion, which includes confusing the world with different false religions. There is only one true God, Yahweh, and he is definitively not Brahmin or Allah or Buddha or the great architect of the universe, which is a euphemism for Lucifer. When we abandoned God, our values and morals became subjective and arbitrary. It was no longer about doing the right thing, but rather doing what makes you happy, like get drunk and high and have sex outside of marriage, because why not? And if you fall pregnant, you can have an abortion. There is no God, so who cares? You can murder that innocent life, dismember its little body, and suck it out and hoover up the mess inside. You can have affairs, or you can have an affair and break up your family home, because why not? And why not steal, cheat, and lie if you can get away with it? And if you want to rape a child or baby, why not? Or that's taking it too far. The nuclear family was destroyed by design, which resulted in the explosion of dysfunctional kids and adults. Drugs would help with that, both legal and illegal. Masonic witch Alice Bailey implemented Satan's 10-point charter after World War II to change the nations from Christian to Luciferian. The breakdown of the family was at the top of the list, in addition to the promotion of abortion and homosexuality. Culture would change perceptions and mindsets through the media, and it would come in the name of love. People wanted love, not war. Free love and drugs, including CIA-supplied LSD and flowers in our hair, was awesome and liberating. The Antichrist Beatles and the Rolling Stones were cool. The normies were programmed to love John Lennon's song Imagine. They began to imagine there is no heaven or hell, and the utopic ideal was one world. We have one life to live, and there is no God to answer to. Thus, society threw off the shackles of the misguided church. God was taken out of schools and public places, and our morals and values went down the pan. Virtue is held up to ridicule, and we live in a clown world where anything goes, including furries. The world could not be more lost. People are deceived into believing they're free, but they're not. They're trapped by the mindsets that have been given to them. They've been socially engineered. Psychiatry's Bible, the DSM, was introduced in 1952, which provided terminology for our new social and moral disease. We all went cray-cray, much to the benefit of Big Pharma. We dissected the human condition and labelled it. Funky human behaviour was sick. Psychology is contentiously a psyop, as sin is our problem. Sin mars everything, including our minds, and we invariably create our own problems through our choices. Like we choose to have kids with a maniac, which creates never-ending drama in our lives, or we choose not to go to work or school because we're anxious or depressed. And addictions are beyond our control. Psychology also removed value-laden terms such as good and evil. Thus, we can't say psychos are evil, but rather they're suffering from a personality disorder. Furthermore, when society killed God, as Nietzsche put it, man lost his purpose and meaning. There was no point to existence. Nietzsche challenged humankind to find meaning amid the nihilism. We must find something worth living for. We need to give our lives meaning. Thus, people live for their kids or their parents or pets or work or because they're scared of dying. Many people fear death, as they should, but apparently more people fear public speaking. How insane is that? We care more about what other people think than what God thinks. In essence, insanity is a sane response to the insanity that is reality. It's a rational response to the absurdity. Spiritual phenomena became psychologized because there is no spiritual. There is no demon possession or oppression, but rather people are struggling with their mental health because of irksome brain chemicals. Schizophrenics are not hearing the voice of demons because there are no demons, and those who appear demon-possessed have dissociative identity disorder. And those compelled to harm themselves or others have distorted thoughts. Our brain is responsible for the thoughts we have. We have nothing to do with it. And depression is a mental illness, not soul sickness. Psychology replaced religion. We took our eyes off of God and put them on ourselves. Satan has shifted the focus from God onto self, hence narcissism is so prevalent today. People have been socially engineered to become narcissists, but some take it to extra special levels. I'm not sure if we've ever been so self-absorbed. Our vanity, which means empty, is off the charts. People increasingly look fake, which matches our fake online persona, which shows the world they're living their best life now. It's imperative for others to know this and see how well they're doing. Good for them. Well done. I think the most important distinction is that God tells us our problem is our heart, not our brain. Our desires come from the heart, not the brain. Jesus said, "From out of the heart come forth evil thoughts, murders, adultery, sexual immorality, thefts, false testimony, slanders." Satan has, through psychiatry, shifted the focus to the brain. There is something wrong with the brain, not the heart. Or rather, the brain reacts to what's going on in the heart. There's a curious relationship between the heart and the brain. Respectively, we need a new heart as opposed to a new brain, and drugs cause brain damage. The Bible tells us there will be a surge of sorcery in the end days, which includes drugs. Satan and his demons have deceived most people through scientism and other false religions, ergo they're after the Christians and those earnestly seeking God. Demons monitor us, they watch us all the time and know what makes us tick. They know how to send us into emotional distress by prompting us to think counterproductive thoughts, and they do it for fun. They got off on our pain, it's sport for them. They tempt us into sin and subsequently guilt trip us. They tell us we're no good and there is no hope for our lives, and we would be better off dead. They enjoy messing with us. They laugh at us and our stupidity. Demons also lure the masses into opening spiritual doors for them through occult practices. They need to be invited into our homes. Our body is our house, like a vampire. People open themselves to demons through psychics and mediums and through spirit impartation, meditation, yoga, manifestation, crystals, dream catcher, satanic music, substance misuse, and through porn. We can give the devil a foothold through anger. Demons love to inhabit people. Psychos who relish in hurting others are demonically possessed. Demons use people as a vessel, like Hitler was possessed. The normies are not aware of the spiritual battle in our midst. Satan deceives unbelievers, to ignore the truth of Jesus, and he ultimately deceives the whole world. The Bible tells us all will worship the beast, who is supported by the Antichrist false prophet who appears to be the Pope. The Pope insists that all religions lead to God, which is contrary to God's word, which unequivocally states that Jesus is the only way. The world has heard of Jesus, but few want to know him. They're not interested. Like at Christmas, his name is mentioned, but people are more interested in their presents and partying and their decorations. Jesus is largely dismissed. Satan is excellent at keeping people distracted. Most people get a lifetime to know God. We get a certain amount of time to figure out the conundrum of life, and then poof, we're gone. Respectively, I have thought about how insidious suicide pods are. Nitrogen is unleashed and oxygen decreased from the demonic viewpoint. Those who take their lives prematurely sabotage any last chance to get right with God. They kill themselves before they ever repent of their sins and reconcile with God through Jesus. I surmise the dark side loves this latter invention. It's efficient and convenient. The method is painless and takes no time. Demons love when we kill ourselves. They talk us into it. It's no marvel that suicide is increasing exponentially. As the Buddhists assert, Life is suffering. People might want to die because of physical pain and debility, or because it's too expensive to live, or because of shame. There's countless reasons to check out. We don't want to be here anymore. And it's easy to get depressed. We can talk ourselves into it, and we can talk ourselves into self-deletion. Or rather, the demons talk us into it. These loathsome, grotesque creatures sit in our shoulder and fill our minds with poison. They win another soul, score another goal. It's beyond twisted. This world is evil, make no mistake. Jesus repeatedly warned us, do not be deceived. I have thus decided to use Lewis's book as my muse. I thought it would be interesting to use his book as a template to consider how demonic warfare looks in 2024. In my version, I relate Screwtape's lessons to his students in the academy. I hope Lewis doesn't mind, and I trust he's in heaven. I hope to see him if he is. I hope we all make it, but you need Jesus, that's just how it is. And we also need spiritual armour for the spiritual battle, more now than ever, as dark forces are ramping up. We must be sober and vigilant, because that old enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour.